It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Hi, Haseena.
Hi, Tina. So great to see you finally in person.
Right. Yes, exactly. Did I say your name right? Haseena?
Perfectly.
Excellent, excellent. Why don't you tell us about yourself?
Well, I am based in South Africa. I'm a mind, body, spirit breakthrough coach, and I help people around the world, mainly girls and women, but people of all genders, basically to find their voices, to embrace their voices, and to just step into being fully who they are in a leadership capacity. And that's what I do. I'm also a yoga instructor and author, international speaker and poet. And yes, it's awesome to be able to connect around the world. I love networking.
Awesome. That's awesome. So you submitted a story in Candace's book. So
Yes.
you work with animals then?
Very interesting question that. You know, I never used to until I came into contact with birds and working with a friend of mine who does bird ringing. She's a licensed bird ringer. But I never so much had a pet growing up except my silkworms when I was 9 or 10.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's amazing. So what is your story about then?
Well, here's the interesting part. Even though I didn't grow up as pets with pets, because my parents always said that, you know, it's a responsibility. You don't just get a pet and suddenly decide you can't take care of it. And so I didn't grow up with pets. I had friends who had pets. So I was very open to communicate with animals. So about I think it was about 2 years ago, a medium had also said to me, you know, you have the ability, you have this gift of communicating with animals. I never thought about that. And I have communicated with animals, just never realized the full extent of it. In the interim, I'd been in contact with my friend who does bird ringing and bird watching, and I once volunteered to help her do the bird ringing. So I wouldn't do very much of it. I'd watch her, and she was such an educator that way. So I'll just explain to you that the bird ringing is so that you can put a unique ring on the bird, so that if it migrates somewhere, even to another country, then you can keep track just with that unique number on the ring. And you're able to trace that bird to get to know more about its habits, how long it lives, and all of these things, so that we can look after birds more, so that birds don't become endangered species, go extinct, and we can help just the future of birds. I then started getting more interested in it and realizing that, you know, we communicate with all of nature. We're in communion with them, with every single element of nature all the time. And since then, I've learned to ring birds. I'm not afraid of them. I started being afraid just when they used to flap their wings, which is quite funny now that I think about it.
Of course, right? Well, and it's been said, we all come from nature, right? So why wouldn't we get along with everything in nature? That's amazing. Yeah. So why the story that you have sent into Candace's book, what I don't really want you to tell me about the story because I want to read the book, but can you tell us why it's so important to you and you felt you needed to share it?
I just feel that just my story alone contributes, it helps people to realize their contribution to leadership and what animals can teach them about leadership, because that's what it taught me. And also, what is leadership? Like you were saying, it's so natural that we are in communion with nature. We're communicating with all elements of nature. We come from nature. And a lot of times we lose this. And of course, I teach the unbecoming system where I help people to unbecome who they are not. And that is what leadership is, just taking off all those layers and stepping into who you are. And you're never going to know who you are if you don't take off those layers. So when I started doing the bird ringing, now that's what it taught me, that, wow, you're getting back to who you really are. You're getting back to the little girl who wasn't afraid of a chameleon, and stepping into yourself more fully. And I realized that that's something that we can all do in different ways. And animals teach us to do that in a variety of ways.
I love that. I've never thought of that, right? But it's true. When you go out in nature and you start chasing frogs, for example. When we go camping, my kids used to always chase the frogs, and I was like, ooh, gross. But it's true, right? Like if I got involved with my kids that way, I would feel like a child again. Maybe that's why I didn't like it. I feel like I'm too old to be a child, but maybe I need to do that more.
And we're all children at heart.
Yeah, right? We all have that little inner child in us. So you obviously love being around animals. Is it like
now I do.
Now you do. So it's not just pets though. Like obviously it's like in the wild, in nature.
I do like that. I feel very connected to elephants. For example, I have an elephant in my background here. This is a painting my mom did, and she said, "What do you want?" And she knows I just feel so connected to elephants. But interestingly, I've begun to treat creatures as and it sounds silly because I should have been doing this in the first place. You treat every creature with dignity. When there's a wasp or a bee stuck in my space, I'll say, well, I'm sure you want to get out of the window. But it's not so much the words, it's just the energy that you communicate with, and you're able to let it out the window. And I think that animals sense your fear or sense your cooperation and your love energy. They really do. In a lot of respects, they're like babies in that regard. And I don't have children, but a lot of parents tell me that, well, children are such a good judge of character. Babies are such a good judge of character. So animals also sense how we feel and how we feel towards them.
Yeah, I believe that. So you're telling me, and obviously it's proving that when I'm terrified of spiders, when I see a spider, like, in front of my window, I turn into like a cement. I can't move. I'm like, oh my God, get rid of it. Right. But I know with my dog, we have a pet dog, and she knows when I'm upset, when I'm happy, when I'm stressed. She knows, and she acts accordingly, right? With compassion and dignity. And so I agree with you there. We need to treat all animals with the same kind of treatment as we give other humans, for sure. Yeah. That's great. Haseena, how can our listeners get a hold of you?
Well, they're welcome to email me hello@haseenapatel.com, or they're able to go to my website, haseenapatel.com, and they can see everything I do, and get in touch with me in whatever capacity they want to. I love connecting with people. I always feel there's divine purpose in it, no matter what sort of collaboration or connection we have. That's another lesson animals teach us. We can collaborate and connect in the most unusual ways. So anyone who wants to connect, I'm open to that.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. And so you're not on social media?
Oh, very much on social media. I'm on LinkedIn, Haseena Patel, Truth Walker, and I am also on Facebook. And I think that the links of my social media links will be there underneath the show. But
Perfect.
yes, people can get hold of me on Facebook too. I do like connecting with new people.
Excellent. Excellent. So Animal Prints on My Soul is the name of Candace Gish's book, and it should be out soon. I don't have an exact date, but I know it's coming soon. So we'll be watching for it to come out, and I'm definitely going to read your story. Thank you so much for joining me today, Haseena.
Thank you so much for having me. I really feel honored to be in Candace's book, Animal Prints for the Soul. And I feel so honored to be interviewed by you. So thank you so much, Tina.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was wonderful talking with you.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.